In this lesson, we're going to look at rotations. What a rotation does is it takes your pre-image and it spins everything around a point, in this case A, so that everything is rotated. So we need a center of rotation, the point, and we need to know what angle it's going to go. So notice if I connect his foot to A and then to his other foot, these are the same distance and that the angle formed is 77 degrees, which is what makes this rotation of 77 degrees because it's moving 77 degrees in that direction. So looking at this in Sketchpad, I've rotated this blue one to the green one around point G. Here's my angle of rotation. We can see that as it traces, as it spins around, this gives me kind of like circles here because the point C is always going to be the same distance to C. B would always be the same distance to B. A would always be the same distance to A. And so as I move my angle here, making it smaller, notice how that changes the angle from C to G to C prime, or it would also do the same from B to B prime, or A to A prime. They'll all have that same angle formed between them, giving us this rotation all the way around. So if we want to find the angle of the rotation, if we know the point, we can do that just by connecting the F to the A to F, and measuring the angle. If we need to draw a rotation, then what we're going to do is we're going to connect our point, say we're going from A first to Q. We look at our angle, so maybe 80 degrees, so we can measure that with our protractor. Make sure that that's the same length, which we would measure with our ruler, and that will give us our new point, A. I would then repeat those steps for B, so same angle, same distance, and I would do it again for C. And then I would connect the dots to get my triangle. Doing that on Sketchpad, we just need to know what our angle is and what our center of rotation is. Those are really the only two things. So the first thing I'll need to do is mark my center. So I'll choose my point here, I'll double click to mark the center, or I could also highlight that and choose it under my transform menu. I'm also going to need to know my angle, and the direction actually matters. The direction actually matters here. I'm going from DEF, that means I'm actually spinning counterclockwise. If I chose FED, I would be going around this way. So let's see what happens. So to mark my angle, DEF, I'll go to transform, mark the angle. You saw that little flash there showing us which direction we're going around. Then I highlight all of my figure that I want to rotate. I transform it and choose rotate. I'm already going with my marked angle, which we see as DEF, and it's going around the center G. I see that this is taking me where I want it to go, and there's my new figure there. I can also now change this by changing my angle, and I can see how that will spin around my point G. Now there's another way that we can do this by reflecting over two lines. And I'm going to show you how to do that on Sketchpad. So here I have two lines J and K. And so I'm going to start by marking my mirror with J first. So I'm going to rotate over J. And I want to reflect it because we're using reflections to do this. So notice how that took me over the line J. Now I want to reflect it over the line K. So I'll double click on that line so that I mark that, making sure my figure is now also highlighted, and I'm going to reflect over line K, which takes me down there. Now I'm going to hide this here so that we can see specifically that this is my final picture here. And notice as I move my lines here, if they're close together, that changes, but notice how this is now spinning over the intersection of those lines at point G. There's also something to notice about the angle between J and K. The angle between J and K right now is 46.83 degrees, but my angle of rotation is always going to be twice that. Notice what happens if I connect my dots from B to G and from G to B prime. Notice how that angle is double this one right here. Now the order also matters. Notice that when my K is above J, so if I'm going over J first and then back over K, I'm going to be going in the opposite direction. So if I'm going to do a rotation here by using reflections, I would look at this angle here, and my angle of rotation is going to be double that angle. If I'm going over M first and then N, then my rotation is going to be in this direction. If I rotate over N first and then N, then I would be going clockwise. So remember, for rotation, there's only two things we need. We need to know the center of rotation and the angle of rotation.